6 plants that can save your life, prevent heart attacks and coronary disease. Your body is a temple, but your heart is the central engine that sustains every fiber of your existence. You've been conditioned into reactive slavery, waiting for an artery to clog or for your pressure to spike so you can beg for drugs that only mask the symptom while eroding your vitality. That cycle of dependence ends today. What you have in your hands is the roadmap to cardiovascular sovereignty. We are not going to treat diseases. We are going to execute an operation of terrain engineering. You will learn to hack the elasticity of your arteries, optimize the viscosity of your blood, and armor your myocardium with surgical precision. We will analyze in depth the 6 botanical powers that act as the reconstruction framework and the pumping intelligence of your organism. Receive the keys to govern your circulatory system. 6. Garlic, Allium sativum, the engineer of fluid dynamics and arterial cleansing. Garlic is not a simple culinary seasoning relegated to the periphery of nutrition. In the arsenal of cardiovascular sovereignty, it rises as a high-precision flow modulator and a first-rate biological intervention agent. Its potency is not accidental, but the result of a sophisticated biochemistry that demands a specific activation protocol. The heart of its power lies in allicin, a volatile sulfur compound that does not exist in free form in the intact bulb. Only through mechanical rupture, cutting, crushing, or pressing does a latent enzyme called alliinase come into contact with alliin, synthesizing this elite molecular projectile. Allicin is, in essence, an encrypted chemical message that, upon entering the bloodstream, orders your arteries to recover their functional freedom and their original elasticity. The engineering that garlic deploys once it infiltrates the system is a lesson in hemodynamic efficiency. Allicin acts as a catalyst for the release of nitric oxide, NO, in endothelial cells. We must understand nitric oxide as the most potent and critical vasodilator in human biology. Its function is to send an immediate relaxation signal to the smooth muscles that wrap the tunica media of the arteries. By inducing this relaxation, garlic expands the diameter of the vascular conduit, allowing hydrostatic pressure to drop in a natural and harmonious way. This is not a pharmacological patch that forces blood pressure down through artificial mechanisms that often drain the kidneys or cause fatigue. It is an optimization of fluid dynamics. For the sovereign individual, this reduction in peripheral resistance means that the heart, this tireless engine, exerts less effort to pump the same amount of oxygenated blood. By decreasing the workload on the left ventricle, garlic ensures that each heartbeat is a maximum efficiency operation, reducing mechanical wear on the myocardium and prolonging the useful life of the circulatory system. However, garlic's sovereignty transcends mere blood pressure management. It manifests as an active safety technology through its antiplatelet aggregation capacity. In the paradigm of conventional medicine, the standard response to the risk of thrombosis is the use of synthetic drugs to thin the blood. These agents are often crude. They dramatically increase the risk of internal hemorrhages and erode the gastric mucosa. Garlic, by contrast, deploys a surgical botanical intelligence. Its organosulfur compounds reduce platelet stickiness only as much as necessary to prevent the formation of pathological clots, those that initiate the process of heart attack or stroke, without compromising the organism's ability to seal wounds. It is a regulation of blood viscosity that ensures the fluid circulates without friction, even through the narrowest capillaries of the brain and extremities, keeping oxygen delivery at optimal levels without putting the structural integrity of the vessels at risk. On the metabolic front, garlic acts as a deep lipid cleansing agent. Its mechanism of action is fascinating. It intervenes in cholesterol biosynthesis by inhibiting the enzyme HMG-CoA reductase. This is exactly the same tactical target as chemical statins, but garlic possesses an incalculable sovereign advantage. It does not block the production of coenzyme Q10. CoQ10. While industrial drugs often cause muscle pain and chronic fatigue by emptying CoQ10 reserves, garlic respects the essential fuel of your cardiac mitochondria. The sovereign approach understands that cholesterol by itself is not the villain of the story. It is a raw material necessary for the production of hormones and cellular membranes. The true enemy is oxidized or rancid cholesterol. When LDL cholesterol suffers oxidative damage, it becomes sticky and begins to embed itself in the endothelium, initiating the formation of the atheroma plaque, arterial tartar. Garlic acts as a massive antioxidant shield that prevents this lipid peroxidation. By neutralizing free radicals before they attack circulating fats, garlic ensures that your arteries remain smooth, elastic, and free of obstructions. To claim the benefits of this plant, the method of administration is as critical as the plant itself. Heat processing, cooking, destroys alliinase, inactivating garlic's potential before it can act. Sovereignty demands consuming garlic raw, crushed, and left to rest for at least 10 minutes before ingestion. This waiting time is vital so the enzymatic reaction can complete the synthesis of allicin. Integrating this protocol into your daily architecture is an act of preventive maintenance of elite infrastructure. It is ensuring that the biological highways of your body operate at 100%, free of metabolic residue and protected against calcification. By mastering the use of garlic, you stop being a passive patient waiting for a cardiac event and become the chief engineer of your own circulation, managing a power that protects your heart with the precision of a cutting-edge security system and the wisdom of millennia of biological evolution. 5. Hawthorn, Crataegus oxyacantha, the repairer and tonifier of the myocardium. If, in the Treaty of Cardiovascular Sovereignty, garlic is responsible for managing the integrity of the pipes and the purity of the fluid, Hawthorn, Crataegus oxyacantha, stands as the chief engineer in charge of optimizing the engine. We are not dealing with a plant of superficial effects. Hawthorn is the definitive tool for myocardial health, validated by both ancestral wisdom and cutting-edge pharmacology. Its ability to treat heart failure and prevent coronary disasters is unparalleled in the botanical kingdom. Its potency emanates from a chemical architecture composed of bioflavonoids, such as vitexin, and oligomeric procyanidins, OPCs, molecules that possess an almost magnetic biological affinity for cardiomyocytes, the cells that generate the beat of life. The main action of Hawthorn is what in high-performance physiology we call positive inotropy. In mechanical terms, this means it increases the strength and effectiveness of the heart's muscular contraction. However, its genius lies in the how. Unlike synthetic inotropic drugs or aggressive stimulants that force the heart to operate at a punishing pace, increasing oxygen consumption and accelerating wear, Hawthorn operates under a logic of thermodynamic efficiency. This plant optimizes calcium transport within cardiac cells, improving contractility without artificially increasing heart rate. The result is a heart that pumps with massive power but at a lower metabolic cost. It is a lesson in applied engineering. You are obtaining greater output, torque, with lower fuel consumption, oxygen and ATP. For the sovereign, this translates into a superior cardiac reserve, allowing the vital engine to work with ease even under extreme physical demands. Beyond pumping strength, Hawthorn is an elite coronary vasodilator. The coronary arteries are the critical conduits that irrigate the heart muscle itself. If these pathways narrow due to stress or inflammation, the heart enters a state of ischemia or suffocation, the prelude to angina or heart attack. Hawthorn's compounds relax the walls of these specific arteries, ensuring the myocardium receives a constant flow of nutrient-rich blood. It is the perfect cooling and nutrition system for an engine that never stops. Additionally, the plant exerts a mild negative chronotropic effect. This means it helps stabilize and reduce the resting heart rate. In the engineering of longevity, this is vital. A heart that beats more slowly spends more time in the diastolic phase, the moment of ventricular filling and nourishment. A heart that knows how to rest between beats is a heart that does not wear out, maintaining its structural integrity for additional decades. Cardiovascular sovereignty with Hawthorn is not a momentary rescue tactic, but a long-term structural reprogramming strategy. One of the greatest enemies of cardiac aging is fibrosis, the process by which the elastic tissue of the heart is replaced by rigid collagen, making the organ hard and inefficient. Hawthorn's procyanidins block the enzymes that degrade healthy collagen and combat the oxidative stress that triggers pathological scarring. By keeping the myocardium elastic, Hawthorn ensures the heart retains its youthful elasticity, allowing it to adapt to pressure changes without suffering microstructural damage. In addition, this plant strengthens the network of capillaries surrounding the heart, creating what physicians call collateral circulation. This is the ultimate survival guarantee. In the event that a main pathway becomes obstructed, the system has already strengthened alternative routes to keep blood flowing. Integrating Hawthorn into your protocol is an act of high-level preventive maintenance. It is the transition from having a heart that simply gets by to possessing an unbreakable vital engine. For the man who seeks total dominion over his biology, this plant is not an option. It is an architectural necessity. It is the ally that ensures your cardiovascular command center can process any stress load, whether physical, chemical, or emotional, with the serenity of a perfectly calibrated mechanism. With Hawthorn, you are not only protecting your life, you are expanding the potential of your vital engine to operate under your own rules of strength and endurance. 4. Ginkgo biloba, the optimizer of microcirculation and endothelial protection. Ginkgo biloba is much more than a botanical relic. It is a living fossil that has perfected its phytochemical architecture for over 200 million years to withstand glaciations, fires, and contaminants. In the theater of cardiovascular sovereignty, this organism acts as a tool for flow optimization in highly complex systems. While other botanical powers concentrate their fire on the myocardium or large-caliber arteries, Ginkgo stands as the undisputed master of microcirculation. Its strategic mission is to ensure that the supply of life, blood loaded with oxygen, glucose, and nutrients, reaches the most remote and delicate terminals of your internal geography. From the microcapillaries that nourish the plasticity of your neurons to the vascular beds that irrigate the deepest muscle fibers, Ginkgo ensures that no dead zones exist in your system. Ginkgo's operational power resides in its ginkgolides and bilobalides, unique secondary metabolites not found in any other species on the planet. These compounds act as potent antagonists of platelet activating factor, PAF. In the engineering of the biological terrain, this has a critical safety implication. PAF is a lipid mediator that in excess induces inflammation and platelet aggregation, causing the blood to take on a muddy or hyperviscous consistency. Thick blood is the silent enemy of the heart, as it drastically increases total peripheral resistance. By inhibiting PAF, Ginkgo ensures optimal blood rheology, allowing the vital fluid to maintain low viscosity and high flowability. This means the heart does not have to generate destructive systolic pressures to push blood through the capillary labyrinth. The flow becomes laminar, smooth, and aerodynamic. It is the technological difference between trying to force dense oil through a capillary conduit and allowing a low-friction fluid, designed for high competition, to slide without resistance toward its destination. For effective prevention of coronary disease, Ginkgo offers invaluable protection to the endothelium, that single-cell thick membrane that functions as the brain of your blood vessels. Oxidative damage to the endothelium is not a minor symptom. It is the triggering event of atherosclerosis. When the endothelium is injured, an inflammatory process begins that ends in calcification and obstruction of the arteries. Ginkgo acts as a broad-spectrum free radical scavenger, deploying a layer of molecular protection over these ultra-thin cells. By neutralizing reactive oxygen species, it ensures the endothelium maintains its ability to produce nitric oxide uninterruptedly. Nitric oxide is the command that orders arteries to remain elastic and functional. A system under Ginkgo's effect is a system that resists arterial stiffness, the so-called arteriosclerosis, which is one of the most precise predictors of myocardial infarction and stroke. By preserving elasticity, Ginkgo allows your blood vessels to act as hydraulic shock absorbers, absorbing pressure changes without suffering microfissures. From the perspective of total physical sovereignty, Ginkgo's impact transcends the chest. By optimizing cerebral microcirculation, it radically improves the oxygenation of neuronal parenchyma, which translates into sharper mental focus, stronger memory, and a greater responsiveness of the central nervous system. We must not forget that the heart and brain operate in a constant feedback loop. A well-irrigated brain is able to command heart rhythm and the stress response with superior precision. A well-irrigated cardiovascular system is a system that recovers with astonishing speed after physical exertion, eliminating waste metabolites efficiently and maintaining unbreakable structural integrity. The strategic use of Ginkgo biloba is, therefore, a commitment to the perfection of biological irrigation. It is the conscious decision not to allow any region of your body to suffer hypoxia or nutrient deficiency due to poor microcirculation. It represents precision maintenance that ensures your biological transport network is free of bottlenecks, allowing energy to circulate without restrictions, maintaining the purity and power of your vital engine at levels of excellence that defy conventional aging. 3. Ginger, Zingiber officinale, the modulator of rheology and thermal control. In the theatre of cardiovascular sovereignty operations, the conventional paradigm has made a tactical error of interpretation, understanding coronary disease simply as a problem of pipes clogged by fat. Reality, under the lens of biological engineering, is far more complex. Cardiovascular pathology is, fundamentally, a state of chronic endothelial inflammation. This is where ginger, Zingiber officinale, intervenes not as a simple ingredient, but as an advanced agent of control over blood rheology, the science that studies how biological fluids flow and deform under pressure, and over the thermal mechanisms that govern metabolic fluidity. Its potency emanates from a chemical architecture led by gingerols and shogaols, compounds that possess a molecular intelligence capable of silencing the inflammatory cascades that precede and consolidate the cardiac event. Ginger's true mastery lies in its ability to act as a selective inhibitor of pro-inflammatory pathways, specifically the COX, cyclooxygenase, and LOX, lipoxygenase, enzymes. By harmoniously blocking these pathways, ginger reduces the production of prostaglandins and leukotrienes, substances that act as biological irritants. In an inflamed system, arterial walls become rough and sticky, creating a high-friction surface that captures oxidized lipids and facilitates plaque formation. Imagine that the inside of your arteries is a conduit that has lost its mirror finish due to chemical erosion. Ginger acts as a molecular polishing agent that restores the smoothness of endothelial tissue. By smoothing the road along which blood travels, preventing metabolic debris from finding a place to anchor, ginger drastically reduces the risk of atherosclerosis. This action is functionally comparable to that of a botanical aspirin, but with an incalculable sovereign advantage. Unlike synthetic salicylates, ginger does not erode the stomach's mucosal barrier or cause microbleeds because its compounds protect the gastric mucosa while purifying the vascular system. From the perspective of high-performance biological autonomy, ginger is a first-order thermogenic. In fluid physics, the viscosity of a liquid is directly related to its temperature. Cold blood is stagnant, thick and dangerous blood, more prone to the formation of molecular aggregates. By subtly increasing internal temperature through the activation of vanilloid receptors, ginger improves the efficiency of lipid metabolism and reduces plasma viscosity. This increase in functional warmth favors constant peripheral vasodilation, ensuring that blood does not crowd into the center of the body under pressure, but flows freely to the periphery. This thermal control allows the organism to process triglycerides and cholesterol more quickly, preventing them from precipitating onto arterial walls. Ginger ensures that the river of life remains fluid, dynamic, and free of sediment, optimizing oxygen delivery to tissues and reducing the heart's workload. One of the most critical risks in coronary disease is the formation of fibrin networks, a protein that acts like a mesh capturing red blood cells to form clots, thrombi. Ginger possesses a subtle but persistent fibrinolytic capacity. Its active principles modulate platelet aggregation, preventing these cells from becoming excessively reactive to stress or turbulence in blood flow. By integrating ginger into your daily protocol, you are taking conscious command over the viscosity of your own internal medium. You are not allowing chance or an inflammatory diet to decide the density of your blood. You are ensuring that your circulatory system stops being a prothrombotic ecosystem and becomes a channel of active purification. Ginger transforms your arteries into a powerful, clean, and highly efficient river that nourishes every cell of the body without generating the unnecessary resistance that exhausts the heart. It is, in essence, the ultimate biological lubricant for an engine that must operate under standards of absolute purity and flow. 2. Green tea, Camellia sinensis, the guardian of vascular elasticity. Green tea represents the pinnacle of systemic antioxidant protection and is, in the language of biological engineering, a broad-spectrum preventive maintenance agent. Its incalculable value in cardiovascular sovereignty lies in its extraordinary density of catechins, led by epigallocatechin galate, EGCG. This molecule is not a simple passive collector of free radicals. It is an advanced epigenetic modulator that reprograms the way your arteries respond to oxidative stress and to the mechanical fatigue of daily pulsatile flow. In a biological environment saturated with pro-oxidants, EGCG acts as a sentinel that prevents metabolic noise from interfering with the survival signals of your vascular cells. The key to its technological superiority lies in the absolute preservation of endothelial elasticity. We must understand that the endothelium is not just the inner lining of your vessels, a sort of biological wallpaper. It is an intelligent sensor and a dynamic organ that decides second by second when arteries must expand or contract to manage pressure. Under the constant attack of free radicals produced by stress cortisol, environmental pollution, and the byproducts of metabolism itself, this tissue tends toward dysfunction and progressive hardening. Rigid arteries are the inevitable prelude to a heart attack because they lose the ability to cushion blood pressure spikes, transferring the entire destructive impact directly to the myocardium and to the most fragile capillaries of the brain and kidneys. EGCG from green tea possesses a unique cellular penetration capacity that distinguishes it from other, cruder polyphenols. It crosses the intimate layers of the vascular wall and reverses oxidative damage at the mitochondrial level, restoring energy production in endothelial cells. This intervention keeps arteries flexible like high-resistance rubber, granting them a resilience that prevents them from becoming brittle like glass over the years. This elasticity is your biological life insurance. It allows your cardiovascular system to absorb the impact of intense physical activity and adrenaline spikes without suffering microfissures. These fissures are critical because they act as anchors or nests where oxidized cholesterol begins to accumulate to form atheroma plaques. From a systemic engineering perspective, green tea acts as a natural inhibitor of the angiotensin-converting enzyme, ACE. By modulating this pathway, it helps regulate blood pressure harmoniously, avoiding the abrupt drops or dangerous rises typical of chemical drugs. By minimizing peripheral vascular resistance, green tea optimizes pumping efficiency. The heart moves more blood with less effort, reducing left ventricular fatigue. It is also the ultimate surface polishing agent. While it protects every millimeter of your vascular network, it simultaneously activates the oxidation of visceral fat. This fat, accumulated around the organs, is not inert tissue. It is a biochemical factory of inflammatory cytokines that bombard the heart directly. The sovereign who consumes high-purity green tea is not only hydrating, he is applying an active molecular armor to his arterial tree. This strategy ensures that blood flow is always laminar and efficient, eliminating pathological turbulence that initiates cardiovascular degradation. Integrating green tea is, ultimately, ensuring that the transport system of your life operates under a standard of fluidity and eternal youth, protecting the central engine from any unforeseen structural failure. 1. Turmeric, Curcuma longa, the master regenerator of cardiovascular tissue. At the absolute summit of the hierarchy of cardiovascular sovereignty stands turmeric. While other botanical powers specialize in managing flow, regulating viscosity, or protecting surfaces, turmeric assumes the role of chief architect of structural integrity and cellular regeneration. Its active principle, curcumin, is a molecule of such disruptive power that modern science has demonstrated its capacity to match, and even surpass, the benefits of regular aerobic exercise in restoring endothelial function. For the sovereign man, turmeric is the total reconstruction protocol for the vital engine. Curcumin's capacity to prevent and reverse cardiac hypertrophy is, without a doubt, its most impressive attribute. Under chronic stress, hypertension, or extreme strength training, the heart tends to thicken pathologically, negative remodeling, which reduces its cavity and eventually leads to heart failure. Turmeric intervenes directly in cellular signaling pathways, such as histone acetylation, stopping this abnormal enlargement and keeping the heart in its optimal athletic size and geometry. It is the definitive defense against myocardial deformation, ensuring the muscle remains powerful yet elastic. Simultaneously, turmeric acts as a potent anti-calcification agent. One of the greatest dangers of systemic aging is that calcium deposits in arterial walls instead of in the bone matrix. A calcified artery is a functionally dead artery. Curcumin modulates mineral transport proteins, ensuring that your blood vessels do not petrify and retain their responsiveness to flow demands. It is literally a decalcification treatment for your most vital pipes. For turmeric to deploy its technical sovereignty, it must be administered intelligently. Its low bioavailability requires the use of activators such as piperine, black pepper, or suspension in matrices of healthy fats. Once curcumin crosses the systemic barrier, it deploys its arsenal. It improves myocardial contractility and protects the mitochondria of your heart cells from energy depletion, ensuring that the heart never runs out of ATP during daily biological combat. Turmeric is the plant that closes the circle of autonomy. It is the architect of regeneration that not only prevents future damage, but actively repairs the scars of the past. By including it in your arsenal, you establish a standard of immunological and structural resistance that makes your cardiovascular system practically impenetrable to heart attack. It is the final seal of an organism that dominates its environment and operates under unbreakable power. You have analyzed in depth the strategy of the 6 powers and now possess the knowledge necessary to radically transform your cardiovascular reality. Heart health is not a gift of chance, nor a concession from industrial pharmacy, nor an unmovable genetic inheritance. It is the direct result of conscious and aggressive management of the biological terrain. Through this treatise, you have learned to manipulate the viscosity of your blood, armor the elasticity of the endothelium, and regenerate the very architecture of the engine that sustains your existence. Ignoring this information is accepting the silent degradation of your most vital infrastructure. Applying it is exercising true physical sovereignty. You have discovered that you can turn your arteries into impenetrable conduits and your myocardium into a high-efficiency turbine that does not fear exertion or the passage of years. Cutting-edge science is on your side, nature provides the components, and you, as chief architect, have just received the command instructions. The power to avoid collapse and reclaim unbreakable vitality is, literally, flowing through your veins. It is time to stop being a spectator of your pressure levels and become the commander of your vital flow. Of these 6 botanical powers, which one is your body screaming for the most to strengthen your system, and what impact do you hope to see by taking control of your health today? Leave your opinion in the comments and share your experience with the community. Do you want to become an expert in your own biology? Subscribe now so you don't miss any of our roadmaps and receive exclusive content to armor your health once and for all.